right before the vows at the altar. My groom halted before all. Not from forgetting his lines. He turned around. He moved toward the side door, landing on another woman. She wore a little white dress. A timid, scared rabbit smile plastered on her face. She walked step by step onto the stage, and stood right where I was supposed to be. I chose that wedding dress myself. Cost 7 figures. Every inch of lace was stitched with my hopes for this marriage. Now it felt like a gilded cage, pinning me to that altar. A spectacle for everyone to witness this long-planned humiliation. Jasper Fu held that woman's shoulder. His tone as flat as announcing tonight's dinner menu. Then he finally looked at me. Not a flicker of emotion in his eyes. Summershin, you can step down now. The crowd below erupted. Gasps. Whispers. A few unmasked snickers drifted from the VIP section. Melanie Zhao lifted her chin. A smug, I told you so curve on her lips. Her expression screamed. See? I always said you weren't good enough for my son. I didn't cry. I didn't make a scene. I didn't even ask why. I lifted my heavy, diamond veil. Diamonds scattered sharp, piercing light. It hurt my eyes a little. My heart was numb, drowning all else. I gave Jasper Fu and that woman the slightest, most dismissive nod. A final courtesy to a pathetic performance. Then I turned. Gathering the absurdly ornate skirts of my wedding gown in both hands, I walked in my 10-centimeter heels, step by steady step, straight down the red carpet toward the exit. My back ramrod straight. Jasper Fu urged, continue the ceremony. I didn't look back. Heels clicked sharply on marble, echoing down the empty hall. The moment the banquet hall doors closed behind me, it shut out the noise of the farcical wedding. The faint scent of air freshener hung in the air, mixing with the cloying gardenia smell from my wedding dress. Sickeningly sweet. I didn't head for the elevators. I entered the stairwell, the fire door thudding shut. The world went instantly silent. Only the sound of my own breathing. I leaned back against the cold concrete wall. From my dress layers, I fished out an ultra-thin phone. This thing was completely out of place with my getup today. But it was my lifeline. My finger swiped the screen open. No missed calls. Just one text message. From the contact saved as father. Need a cleanup? My fingers were steady. Unnaturally steady, even to me. No. Stick to the plan. Pick me up in 3 minutes. Location, service elevator exit, hotel underground parking. Wipe all surveillance. Send. In the few dozen seconds of waiting, I slowly peeled off the lace gloves, the symbol of a vow. Tossed them carelessly into a corner of the stairwell. Grabbed the corset lacing and zipper, yanking hard. Fabric tore loudly in the quiet stairwell. And shockingly satisfying. I wriggled out of that dress, a skin of blessings and humiliation. I was already wearing a simple black tracksuit and flats underneath. I balled up the elaborate wedding dress and shoved it deep into the stairwell's trash bin. Once that was done, I pushed open the door on the other side of the emergency exit. Slipped into the staff corridor. The route was memorized. Avoiding all areas where people might be, twisting and turning, I reached the service elevator to the VIP parking. The elevator doors slid open silently. Empty. The numbers descended. A soft ding. B2. The doors opened. A black van with no markings sat waiting. 2 burly men in black suits stood beside it. Seeing me, they gave a slight bow and wordlessly opened the door. The moment I got in, the person inside handed me a thermos and a new phone. Hot water. Your old phone signal is jammed. SIM destroyed. This is your new number. Only the old master, myself, and a few kiads know it. I took the thermos, sipped. Warmth slid down my throat, chasing away the last lingering chill of anger from my bones. Not heartbreak. Anger. At Jasper Fu's stupidity. At the sheer annoyance of this whole circus. And a touch of absurdity at my 3-year compromise as Summer Shen. All Shinshinsi apartments and locations are cleared. All personal effects destroyed or transferred as instructed. All online traces have been completely erased. Even if Jasper Fu tries to investigate, Shinshinsi returned from overseas 3 years ago. Clean background, dating records. Anything before that is a complete blank. He's too distracted to dig deep. I smirked coldly, staring out the car window at the street speeding by. He's too busy enjoying his wedding of the century. The car pulled into a heavily guarded, low-key Westside mansion. Home. Jasper thinks he tossed aside a helpless, orphaned girl. Little does he know, the door he slammed shut leads to the most powerful family in the city. And that woman he humiliated in front of everyone at his wedding is someone he could never, ever measure up to. Car stopped. Father waited on the steps. Nearly 60, but tall and straight, with sharp eyes. Right now, his gaze held concern as he looked at me. But more than that, a cool assessment. I got out and walked up to him. Dad. He looked me up and down, seeing my simple clothes and calm expression, then nodded. Not hurt? Just a bit of face lost. He'll pay it back with interest, and soon. A faint, cold smile touched my lips. Like father, like daughter. Go in. Mother's worried. I opened the conservatory door. Mother came forward. She didn't ask about the wedding details. Just took my hand, touched my face, and sighed. A soft-spoken, graceful southern gentlewoman, but with a core of steel. You've been wronged. That blind, foolish man wasn't worth 3 years of your life. I squeezed her hand back. It wasn't a waste. These 3 years as Shinshinsi showed me everything clearly. Jasper Fu is arrogant, stubborn, and easily swayed. He's putty in her hands. Fu Group looks strong, but rotting inside by him and his mother. Those seemingly brilliant investments they made recently? We guided it all. Now we're pulling support. The collapse will be swift. Mother nodded, her eyes filled with absolute support. Do whatever you need to do. This family will always have your back. Back in my private suite within the estate, I soaked in a hot bath, washing away the last clinging feel of that wedding. Changed into a silk robe, walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. I gazed at the quiet grounds. My phone buzzed. The first unknown call on my new phone. Glanced at the number, ending in 5/8. Jasper Fu's private line. He's calling faster than I expected. Answered. Didn't speak. 2 seconds of silence on the other end. Then, Jasper Fu's voice came through. Background's noisy, wedding reception still on. He deliberately moved to a quiet spot. His tone is complicated. A bit impatient, a bit of that inexplicable irritation. Maybe even a sliver of apprehension. A doubt he's not even willing to admit to himself. Summer Shen. Where are you? I let out a soft laugh. Didn't answer. He raised his voice. I know today was hard for you. But Wendy, she's waited for me too long. I can't let her down. Be reasonable. Come back. The wedding's off, but the compensation you're owed won't be any less. The South District Apartment can be in your name. And I'll give you a card. I cut him off. Jasper Fu. He stopped. That apartment, bought with the Fu's shady loan? I gave a light chuckle and continued. As for the card, keep it for your honeymoon with Miss Sue. Have a happy married life. Before he could react, I hung up and blocked him. He has no idea. He, and his teetering Fu empire, are about to become the first sacrifice in this counterattack. Early the next morning, I'm in a sharply tailored suit, sitting in the top floor office of the group headquarters. City skyline beyond the massive windows. My assistant lays several files before me. As planned, we're quietly selling off Fu's public shares. We've contacted their major creditors. Also, the core plot in the East District Jasper wanted. The final approval documents will be issued this afternoon. The winning bidder will be our wholly owned subsidiary. I flipped through the files. What's Jasper Fu's reaction? He's still looking for Summershin. Sent people to all her previous rental addresses. Found nothing, of course. He seems to think you're hiding away, heartbroken. Also, his mother, Melanie Zhao, is spreading word outside, saying Summershin failed in her social climbing attempt. Knew she was in the wrong, and ran. I closed the file. Good. Let them enjoy their win. On the third afternoon, I was listening to a report on an overseas project, when my assistant walked in with an exquisite, gold-foiled envelope. The item you requested has arrived. I opened the envelope. Inside was an invitation. The highest spec event in the city. A charity gala jointly hosted by several old money families. Invite for the Liu family's recently returned eldest daughter. This gala, Jasper Fu will definitely attend with his new wife. It's his chance to formally introduce her to so-called high society. I touched the smooth paper. Reply to the hosts. I will attend on time. Also, get the dress and jewelry I ordered earlier ready. Should we leak your return? I shook my head. The best surprises are saved for the very last moment. I want to reappear before Jasper Fu and Wendy Su. At their peak smugness, thinking they've crushed me. Standing at a height they could never even dream of reaching. I sipped my coffee. Bitter, then sweet. Just like the taste of revenge. Jasper Fu had his people practically turn the entire city upside down. He went first to the high-end apartment Summershin had been renting. He used the spare key. Inside was spotless. Living room, bedroom, study, all her personal belongings were gone. The wardrobe nearly empty, just a few expensive dresses that she never seemed particularly fond of. It felt like a deliberate, mocking gesture. Not a single strand of hair was left on the vanity. The trembling assistant reported to the vice president. Miss Shin hired movers the afternoon of the wedding. They cleared out everything within 2 hours. Surveillance was under maintenance for that period. Jasper stood in the center of the empty living room. His face ashen. The assistant kept his head down, not daring to speak. They checked the small design firm where she worked. Part of her ordinary person cover. The person in charge looked utterly clueless. Summershin? She submitted her resignation a week ago. Said she needed to focus on the wedding. Paperwork done. The cafes she frequented, the gym. Even the art galleries she'd occasionally visit. Everyone said they hadn't seen her lately. Summershin had vanished without a trace. Leaving no trace. Even the handful of friends she had. Those carefully arranged identity covers. Had all changed contact details, disappearing. This kind of thorough, methodical disappearance. It wasn't something done on a whim or out of heartbroken escape. It required meticulous planning and powerful execution. Jasper's irritation and guilt turned to growing unease. He sat in his CEO office. His fingers tapping unconsciously on the mahogany desk. That woman had been with him for 3 years. Gentle, understanding, even excessively quiet. Never asked for expensive gifts. Always silently endured his mother's petty harassments. He always thought she loved him so desperately she couldn't leave him. But now, the intercom on his desk buzzed, cutting off his thoughts. Vice President. Miss Su is here. Let her in. He rubbed his temples. Wendy Su pushed the door open, carrying a thermal lunchbox. A sweet, slightly pouty smile was plastered on her face. She was dressed in a brand new designer suit. She's already playing the rich socialite. Jasper, you've been busy all morning, haven't you? I made you some soup. Have some while it's hot. She tries to sit on his lap. Jasper subtly leans back in his chair. Avoiding her. Wendy's smile freezes for a second. She opens the thermos to serve soup. Jasper, are you still looking for that? Summer? She pushes the bowl towards him, her tone carefully measured. Honestly, what was she thinking? How could she be so reckless, just running off like that? Not a single word to anyone, leaving everyone worried sick. Your mother said it's a blessing you didn't marry her. How could she ever be a Fu family wife? Jasper doesn't touch the soup. He looks at Wendy. You spent time with her before. Did she ever mention any close friends? Or places she wanted to go? Wendy's eyes dart away briefly. Then she shakes her head. No, not at all. Summer, she was always kind of a loner. She never really opened up to me, you know? Maybe she's just too ashamed to show her face. Hiding away in some corner somewhere. After yesterday's scene, she looks sad. It's not your fault. It was her choice. He just doesn't understand. Summer's disappearance was unexpected. He feels things are spiraling out of control. Wendy bites her lip, changing the subject. Oh, by the way, Jasper, the Lee family's charity gala is tomorrow night. I've already picked out my gown. It's a custom piece from by Couture. You decide. Jasper is distracted. This gala is crucial. It's the chance to formally introduce Wendy into the inner circle. And to show the world that the Fu family is stable and united. He can't afford to be sidetracked by Summer's vanishing act. Wendy leans in closer. I heard Ms. Liu might be back in the country. It's very likely someone from the Liu family will attend this gala. If we could just speak with them. Jasper's brow furrows slightly. The Liu family. That's the true behemoth perched at the very top of the city. Their empire spans the globe, low profile but terrifyingly powerful. The Fu family, compared to them, is like a stream meeting the ocean. Even a sliver of their favor or a minor collaboration would be a quantum leap for Fu Enterprises. It was a goal his father pursued relentlessly, yet never achieved. Is the information reliable? It is. Mrs. Zhao told me. Her husband deals with a minor Liu family branch. Wendy Su smirked at the news. Now that she's fully embraced her role as a wealthy socialite, she used all her resources to build her network. Jasper Fu, we'll play it by ear tomorrow night. Don't cozy up to the Liu family, but if an opportunity arises, we must make a lasting, positive impression. I know. Wendy Su flashed a sweet, practiced smile. She schemed to outshine everyone at the gala. Especially any potential rivals who might show up. Summer Shin is no longer a threat. The battlefield she faces now is much, much broader. Meanwhile, at the West City estate in my father's study, facing me, the CFO and 2 investment managers. A screen showed Fu Group's 3-year financial data. CFO, biggest risk, last year's loan for the West City tech bid. The officer pointed to a red section on screen. This loan is due in the middle of next month. Given their cash flow and project repayments, the pressure to repay is immense. Manager, they're courting Changrong Capital lately. Trying to secure bridge financing. Father, Changrong has been notified. Tapping the armrest lightly, his gaze shifting to me. Your thoughts? My focus landed on several of the Fu family group's ongoing projects. One was Jasper Fu's Blue Bay luxury resort project. His key to becoming the new generation leader. Father, let them talk to Changrong, but make the terms crippling. By time. Send anonymous evidence of Fu's substandard materials at Blue Bay to their main competitor. We don't need to prove it. Just enough to catch the attention of the relevant authorities. Just trigger an investigation. The project halts. Tightening their cash flow. CFO, understood. Also, our offshore entity sold Fu shares in small batches. Market rumors of Fu's financial strain are spreading. Their stock dipped slightly. Father, not enough. Get outlets to hint at their debt and project delays. Don't make a big splash. Just a ripple. In the capital markets, confidence is often more valuable than gold. A mere whisper is enough to make the sensitive institutions react. A glint of approval appeared in my father's eyes. Push too hard, and they might get desperate and find another way out. Apply pressure gradually. Lead them to their own dead end. I nodded. Exactly. Jasper's pride is Blue Bay, his supposed business acumen. Watching the thing he's so proud of crumble bit by bit. That will hurt him more than bankruptcy. After the meeting. Assistant, regarding your investigation into Wendy Sue. We have more in-depth information now. I took the tablet. On the surface, she's an art student who studied abroad. Comfortable upbringing. Her father's company is drowning in debt. She keeps it afloat by playing men for resources. Her chance meeting with Jasper Fu was a carefully planned setup. Even while they were dating, Jasper was already in contact with her. Maybe they just weren't at the marriage talk stage back then. Summer's docile nature dissatisfied Melanie. It sped up her plan to push Wendy Sue into the spotlight. Also, the assistant paused. Wendy Sue has been getting very close to a producer named Meng lately. Seems she's trying to get investment for a web series. She wants to boost her status in the entertainment industry. That producer Meng has a pretty bad reputation. Likes to trade roles for favors. Raise an eyebrow. Compile all of producer Meng's past scandals. Send it anonymously to a few gossip-hungry entertainment outlets. Time it for after tomorrow night's gala. Let Wendy Sue enjoy her moment in the spotlight first. Then watch her crash down hard. The contrast will be sharper that way. And the pain, much deeper. The assistant notes it all down. Is the gown and jewelry for the gala ready? Ready. A 3 billion dowry. An Italian haute couture piece and antique jewelry. Just retrieved from the family vault. The stylist and security team are on standby. We'll use the armored car for transport. The license plate will be switched to a common one. We'll swap the plate before arriving. I nod. My first step back to the city's top echelon in 3 years. The goal is clear. Make it a night Jasper Fu and Wendy Sue will never forget. Jasper loves being the center of attention, doesn't he? Loves being looked up to? Thinks Summershin is too plain and ordinary for him? Fine. Then let him see what it truly means to have all eyes on you. Let him understand what it means to be in a league he can never reach. I walked to the window, looking at the estate's gardens. The setting sun casts a golden glow over everything. Summershin is gone for good. Tomorrow night, only my true identity and name will remain. The invitation smells of high-quality paper. The handwritten script is bold and powerful. Venue, Cloud Peak Ballroom at the 7-Star Hotel. Time, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. sharp. The assistant adds, hosts are the Li, Chen, and Wang families. They're the main organizers. It's considered the most prestigious social event of the season. Besides the local elite families and corporations, there will also be some distinguished overseas guests. Jasper Fu is bringing Wendy Sue as his +1, mainly to use this opportunity to formally establish his status. Connect with key players, pull resources for Fu family. I put down the invitation. Walking over to the holographic display panel by the dressing room. The assistant operates it. The screen immediately shows a 3D simulation of the gala venue, along with a detailed seating chart. My seat is placed at a table right next to the head table. My table, family ties or peers. Jasper and Wendy, central back, slightly side. The zone for the newly powerful. Quite a distance from the head table. In these circles, seating itself is a silent declaration of status. Security-wise, the assistant switches the view. All hotel entrances, corridors, ballroom surveillance feeds synced. A dedicated security team will enter in advance, blending in among the staff and guests. Also, as you instructed, a reliable journalist has been arranged. Ask pointed questions about Fu family situation. I nod. Public opinion cuts deeper than blades. What about the gown and jewelry? Assistant gestures to mobile rack and dressing room. The dust cover is slowly drawn back. A rich blue, deep as the midnight sea, comes into view. Not the usual sapphire or sky blue. but a near black royal blue. Velvet glows with profound stillness. The gown is a retro halter-neck style, off the shoulder. Elegant deep V-back extends to waist. There are no superfluous decorations anywhere. Impeccable tailoring, top-tier velvet. Trace out fluid, powerful lines. The hem falls to the ankles, with a high slit on the side. Hints of leg appear and disappear with movement. Steady, yet revealing a sharp edge held in restraint. The matching jewelry rests on a black velvet tray beside it. Not diamonds. A full set of unheated, natural royal blue sapphires. Set in simple platinum mounts. The necklace is layered. Each stone is a cushion-cut sapphire over 20 carats. So deep it seems to swallow the soul. Earrings, a bracelet. And one bold statement ring meant for the index finger. Every gem's color and clarity matches flawlessly. Glimmering under the light with a cold, noble fire. Jewelry set owned by European royalty last century. Grandfather won it at Sotheby's 3 years ago. It's been sitting in a bank vault ever since. The gown is the final masterpiece of that reclusive Italian master. One of a kind in the whole world, he said. Only the silent power wielder deserves this. I reach out, my fingertips lightly brushing the velvet surface. A cool, silky smooth sensation. Wendy Sue's flashy style, isn't it? Logo-obsessed taste could ever understand. I want that unspoken, judgmental authority. Perfect. Hair and makeup at 3 p.m. tomorrow. The assistant recovers the gown. I return to the study. Opening another file, gala attendee profiles. Those worth noting or making contact with. My gaze lingers on one page for a moment. Song Yan, the one currently steering the Song family ship. Not even 35. Ruthless methods. Nearly doubled the family's business empire in recent years. The Song family and the Liu family compete in some overseas sectors. But there's no direct conflict in the major domestic picture. In fact, there's potential for collaboration on certain fronts. More importantly, Song Yan and Jasper Fu have history, from their university days. Rumor has it, it was over some project competition. Jasper Fu won using some questionable tactics. They've been at odds ever since. An enemy's enemy isn't necessarily a friend. But they can make your enemy's life difficult. I make a note of that. My phone vibrates. A message from an encrypted number. Just one picture and a single line of text. Jasper and Wendy try outfits at a bridal boutique. Wendy Sue is beaming, picture perfect. Jasper Fu is looking at her in profile. But he seems distracted. The VP still investigates Summer's whereabouts. He's on edge. Wendy preps to steal the show. Got it. Proceed as planned. I set the phone down. Walking to the window, the manor is peaceful. Far from the drama across town. The groom seeks an old flame, the bride gears up. This kind of peace comes from absolute power and control. My father has entered the room without me noticing. He's holding 2 cups of warm milk and offers one to me. Not resting? Reviewing materials. I take the milk. Tomorrow night might stir things up a bit. He takes a sip of his milk. Calmly, the family daughter can stir things up. Just remember, whatever you do, this family has your back. Judge, a slap, humiliation, or tearing them out. Whatever makes you happy. He pauses. Your mother says, don't let them get to you. They're not worth it. A warmth spreads in my chest. Mom's asleep? She'll see you dressed up tomorrow. I smiled. Fu family's making small moves. They're like a bowstring pulled taut right now. Just needs the right pressure at the right time. Or to cut the one string that matters most. My father nodded. The business siege is like a dull knife slowly cutting through flesh. But my appearance tomorrow night will be the fatal psychological blow. To destroy what Jasper Fu is most proud of, his face and his control. The next afternoon, in the private styling suite at the estate, The top-tier styling team was on standby. After my shower, before the mirror, the stylist blow-dried my long hair. No complicated updo. Instead, it was styled into a seemingly into a calculated, shoulder-length loose wave. The ends rested perfectly below my delicate collarbones, complementing the halter neckline of the gown. Makeup was minimalist luxury, a flawless, sheer base, highlighting the skin's natural radiance. Eyes softly defined with deep brown matte tones, enhancing their depth. A fine, elongated eyeliner, and perfectly separated lashes. The lips were painted a dusty rose, close to my natural lip color, with a soft matte finish. The entire look had no garish, attention-seeking colors. Yet it amplified every one of my best features to the extreme. It projected a beauty that was cool, aloof, and untouchable. When the royal blue velvet gown was finally on, and the sapphire jewelry set was in place, as I stood before the full-length mirror, even the jaded styling team held their breath. The woman in the mirror was regal, mysterious, and commanded the room. The deep blue made my fair skin look like cool jade. The subtle gleam of the gems danced at my neck and wrist. The impeccable cut elongated and streamlined my silhouette. The occasional glimpse of leg from the slit was straight and powerful. I didn't smile. My gaze was calm, unreadable, yet held the power to see through and control everything. This wasn't a princess waiting for a prince to save her. This was a queen, scepter in hand. My mother walked in. Eyes reddened, then filled with pride. She stepped forward, adjusting a nearly invisible clasp at the back of my necklace. Go. Let those blind fools see what they missed. Let them see who they crossed. My father arrived, looked me over, and said only 2 words, perfect. 7:40 p.m. The specially modified sedan, the understated, lavish car left the estate. Headed to Cloud Peak Tower. My assistant in the passenger seat confirmed details via encrypted comms with on-site security. I leaned back in the custom rear seat, closing my eyes to rest. My fingers traced the cool sapphire ring. 3 years. Playing Summer Shin was like a long, immersive drama. I sheathed all my sharp edges. Learned to act like an ordinary, even docile woman. To see clearly the true faces of Jasper Fu and the people around her. All those moments of seeming compromise. Being nitpicked by Melanie Zhao. The subtle provocations from Wendy Su. Now, they've all turned into fuel, burning calmly in my heart. Not for hatred, but for a precise reckoning. The car slid into the hotel's private garage. A private elevator went to the top-floor VIP lounge. The doors opened. Outside, 2 men in black suits, wearing internal badges, gave a slight bow. I stepped out. My assistant followed half a step behind. Elegant music and chatter came from the banquet hall doors. The other battlefield. The gilded doors swung slowly inward. The dazzling lights of the banquet hall, the elegant crowd, and that particular, tepid air unique to the highest echelons. A mix of perfume, expensive cigars, and desire surged out like a tide. The attendant inside, seeing the arrivals, or more accurately, seeing the invitation my assistant and security presented, his professional smile instantly turned deeply reverent. Even with a trace of barely noticeable tension. This way, please. He bowed deeply, his voice dropping several tones. I didn't step forward immediately. My gaze swept calmly over the scene of opulence before me. Crystal chandeliers refracted blinding spots of light. Men in impeccably tailored suits conversed in low tones. Women's jewels and gowns vied for attention. Soft jazz music flowed through the air, but couldn't mask the deliberately hushed discussions, assessments, and probes. From the moment I stepped through that door, countless eyes would focus on me, scrutinizing, curious, speculating. I gave a slight nod of my chin and walked in. My heels clicked against the mirror-polished marble floor. A clear, steady rhythm. The sound wasn't actually loud, but in the area near the entrance, it strangely drew the attention of some. The first few guests to see the newcomer fell silent mid-conversation. Their eyes fixed on the figure in blue. A casual glance rapidly shifted to shock, appraisal. Then a kind of dawning realization. They recognized the unique style of this gown. They recognized the unique sapphire jewelry, even here. More importantly, they recognized this face, or what it signified. The whispers spread like ripples in a still pond. The murmurs quickly reached the far corners of the banquet hall. That's the Liu family. Liu Jinxiong's only daughter. She's really back in the country. My God, could these be the heart of the deep-sea sapphires? More commanding than rumored. I pretend not to hear. My steps remain measured and steady. I walk along the crimson-carpeted path toward the head table. My assistant scans the room, eyes sharp. Security blends into the guests and staff. More and more eyes fix on me from behind. Curious stares. Awestruck gazes. Calculating looks. This circle has no secrets. The Liu heiress's first public appearance since her return is a statement in itself. A powerful one. I hear a discordant sound from that direction. Like someone accidentally knocking over a glass. The shatter cuts through the elegant veneer. I don't deliberately search for the source. Yet my gaze lands precisely near the commotion. Jasper Fu and Wendy Su stand there. Wendy's wearing a garish, eye-searing hot pink sequin dress. The deep V-neck plunges to a frankly dangerous depth. Around her neck hangs a chunky diamond necklace. It sparkles, making her look like a Christmas tree. Her face wore a practiced, smug smile. She was clinging to Jasper's arm, chatting with a middle-aged couple. Jasper wears a custom black suit. He stands tall, a faint, business-appropriate smile on his face. But a shadow of gloom and distraction lingers between his brows. Summershan's complete disappearance still haunts him. The glass was broken by a waiter beside them. But no one cares about that now. The smile on Wendy's face has completely frozen solid. Her eyes are wide, bulging, locked on the figure in blue. As if she's seen some impossible monster. Her lips part slightly. The garish lipstick at the corner of her mouth twists with her shock. Her grip on Jasper's arm tightens unconsciously. Her nails are probably digging into the fabric of his suit. Jasper's reaction is more layered. He instinctively follows the crowd's gaze and Wendy's stare toward me. When his eyes land on my face, there's a flash of brief confusion. Seeing someone achingly familiar who should absolutely not be here. Then, the confusion morphs into stunned disbelief. His pupils contract violently in that instant. The color visibly drains from his face. Even his lips lose their hue. He's completely frozen, rooted to the spot. Eyes that once looked at Summershan with entitlement now churn with violent shock and utter bewilderment. Anger and panic rising, I've been played. The couple beside them noticed their sudden stillness. Following their gaze to the blue-clad figure, they broke into polite, obsequious smiles. I withdrew my gaze, my steps never faltering for a second. They were just irrelevant specks in the background scenery. My destination was my assigned seat. However, just as I passed a short distance in front of them, Jasper found his voice, clawing out of shock. He took an almost involuntary half-step forward. His Adam's apple bobbed violently. His voice was a dry, rasping croak. The name tore from his lips, barely recognizable, Summershan. The 3 syllables hung in the air, jarring. Several nearby guests heard it. Their faces lit up with surprise and curiosity. To the blue-clad figure, Wendy snapped back to reality. She yanked hard on Jasper's arm. Her voice was sharp, shrill, laced with unmistakable panic and warning. Jasper. What are you babbling about? That's Miss Lu, of the Lu family. Jasper, jolted by her pull, seemed to remember the setting. But his eyes remained locked on that face. They were a chaotic storm of need, to confirm, to interrogate, and overwhelming, gut-wrenching confusion. Desperate for any trace of summer in that placid face. I stopped walking. Not because he called that name, but because I'd reached my seat. The guests at this table were already rising to their feet. Ready with practiced smiles, I turned my head. My glance swept over Jasper and Wendy. It was the look you'd give two grimy pebbles on the sidewalk. Like gnats, too insignificant to register. Then I turned to the table, giving a slight, graceful nod. A perfectly measured, cool, and polite smile graced my lips. Uncle Lee, Uncle Chen, Auntie Wang. Good evening. My father asked me to convey his regards to you all. Uncle Lee was the Lee family head, a host. He beamed. Welcome back. Your father's lucky to have such an accomplished daughter. Please, sit, sit. The others chimed in warmly, their respect palpable. The entire atmosphere at this table seemed to brighten a notch with my arrival. No one minded the couple's spectacular turmoil. I took my seat with effortless grace. A waiter poured champagne at perfect temperature. I could feel Jasper's gaze still boring into my back like a nail. A chaotic mess. Utter disbelief. Wendy seemed to be hissing something urgent and low in his ear. She tried to pull him away, but right at that moment, another figure approached. It was Song Yan. He held a glass of wine, a faint, knowing smile playing on his lips. He first nodded respectfully to Uncle Lee and the other elders. Then his gaze settled on the figure in blue. He raised his glass. Ms. Lu. An honor. I'm Song Yan. Welcome back. His appearance once again drew many eyes from the surroundings. Song Yan taking the initiative to greet me. His intent clear, I clinked my glass against his. My glass rim deliberately lower than his. A pleasure, Mr. Song. My father has mentioned your remarkable achievements. Song Yan chuckled softly. He glanced meaningfully at the shell-shocked Jasper Fu. Leaning in slightly, he lowered his voice. Speaking in a volume meant only for us, it seems Ms. Lu's return has turned some people's sweet dreams into a living nightmare. The show's off to a thrilling start. I took a sip of champagne. You flatter me. Things are returning to their rightful place. Everyone back in their proper positions. Appreciation and understanding flickered in Song Yan's eyes. He said no more, offered a polite smile, and turned to leave. His stance was clear, the Song heiress had their approval and favor. This confirmed the Lu heiress's identity. The warm welcome from the main table's power players. Song Yan's proactive overture. It was like a volley of silent, stinging slaps. Slapping Jasper Fu and Wendy Su in the face from afar. I didn't need to look back to picture their expressions. Wendy Su's smug satisfaction, her meticulous styling, crushed under the sheer weight of absolute pedigree and legacy. It became a pathetic, laughable imitation. Jasper Fu's shock and fury. They seemed powerless and ridiculous before this brutal reality. They thought they'd reached the top, but didn't know the real peak. And now, they'd just been stripped of the right to even look up at it. The dinner's formalities continued. The host took the stage, spouting pleasantries. The charity auction was about to begin. But for some, this night was already over. Or rather, their nightmare was just getting started. I gently swirled the crystal glass in my hand. The golden champagne liquid formed tiny ripples. Jasper Fu, do you recognize me yet? Don't worry. This is only the beginning. The charity auction proceeded without much fanfare. Just the usual jewelry, art pieces, or personal items donated by the elite. People placed token bids, for luck and for appearances. But I could feel it. Their stares burned into my back. One held confusion, shock, and desperate need. The other was a toxic mix of jealousy, panic, and a growing, seething resentment. I sat there, poised, occasionally exchanging a quiet word with Uncle Lee at my table. I showed little interest in the items on the auction block. It was only when a landscape painting, an early collection of my father's that he later donated, came up, that I raised my paddle once. I bought it back for a price well above market value. This move was both filial piety. Another subtle flex, even our charity uses our cast-offs. Uncle Lee chuckled in approval. I smiled back. Some things are just meant to come home. The more composed I was, the more I seemed to belong here. And the more those distant gazes from across the room burned. I imagined the storm in Jasper Fu. How could the meek, easily disposable Summershin he knew transform into Ms. Liu, a woman he had to look up to, someone he'd need to scheme just to get a word with? It shattered his entire reality of the last 3 years, like an invisible sledgehammer, smashing his pathetic sense of superiority and control to pieces. As the auction was winding down, the host announced it was time for mingling. The elegant music swelled once more. Guests began to cluster in small groups, chatting. I was just about to get up and greet a few other elders, when a figure blocked my path with undeniable force. It was Jasper Fu. His face was still pale, but he'd forcibly reined in the shock in his eyes. In its place, fury at the deception and tight composure. His breath was ragged, chest rising and falling. Wendy Sue was half a step behind him, clutching his arm like a lifeline. Her face was ashen, like she'd been dusted with chalk. Those perfectly made-up eyes were locked on me, filled with barely contained envy and dread. The chatter around us dipped to a murmur. Dozens of eyes, overt and covert, turned our way. Everyone knew the show was about to start. Jasper's Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was steadier than before, but still strained and rough. He looked right at my face. Ms. Liu, he asked, each word deliberate. Haven't we met somewhere before? What a stupid question. Yet it carried his final, desperate probe. He was hoping for a denial. Hoping it was just a resemblance, hoping it was all a bad dream. I slowly lifted my gaze, my eyes calmly settling on his face. That look was like watching a complete stranger, even carrying a faint, barely perceptible trace of confusion. I didn't answer immediately. Instead, I gently swirled the remaining champagne in my glass, as if pondering a trivial matter. This disregard and silence was more humiliating for Jasper Fu than any sharp words. A vein throbbed at his temple. Wendy Sue couldn't take it anymore. She forced a smile. But that smile was uglier than a grimace. Her voice shrill as she cut in, Jasper, you must have mistaken her. With Ms. Liu's status and poise. She didn't finish. How could she be so easily replaced? I finally spoke. My voice wasn't loud, but it carried clearly. It held a natural, effortless chill that needed no amplification. Sir, do we know each other? Jasper Fu seemed stung by those words. He stepped forward, breaching social distance. His eyes locked onto me. Shenjixia. Stop pretending. What game are you playing? How can you be Liu, Mr. Fu? I interrupted him. My tone remained steady, even taking on a hint of perfectly measured impatience for someone being persistently bothersome. I believe you are indeed mistaken. I don't know any Shenjixia. I paused, my gaze sweeping lightly over him, and over the deathly pale Wendy Sue behind him. However, mentioning that name, it does remind me of some rather unpleasant gossip I heard recently. A CEO replaced his bride at his own wedding. My voice was low, but the silence amplified it. It clearly reached every eavesdropping ear. Instantly, those who knew the story exchanged knowing looks. Jasper and Wendy faced mockery and disdain. In these circles, affairs are common. To handle it so publicly on such an occasion, and to make such a spectacle of it, it's social suicide. Jasper's face flushed a deep, shame-filled red. He never expected me to be so direct. To so casually lay bare this affair in front of so many people. He never expected her to be so indifferent. Wendy Sue looked ready to collapse. The stares pierced her gown like needles. Those looks held no envy, only cold judgment. Mockery, contempt, her strained socialite aura. Shattered completely in this moment. Jasper Fu gritted his teeth, lowering his voice. In a tone bordering on threat, what exactly are you trying to do? Summershin, I'm warning you. Mr. Fu, I cut him off again. This time, my voice turned cold. The veneer of politeness was stripped away entirely, revealing the icy edge beneath. Mind your language. First, I am Ms. Liu. Secondly, I leaned forward slightly, whispering, slow and clear, you still don't get it. It's not a matter of what I want. It's about what you, and the Miss Sue beside you, owe me. Owe the Liu family an explanation. I straightened up. My voice returned to normal volume. The Liu daughter lived incognito for personal reasons. During that period, some people mistook that alias for someone they could bully at will. My gaze swept over Jasper Fu, then over Wendy Sue, before turning to the more distinguished guests gathering around. My father is displeased. And personally, I find it all very distasteful. The word distasteful hung in the air, light as a feather. Yet it landed like two heavy slaps across Jasper and Wendy's faces. Jasper Fu was utterly stunned. His mind was reeling. Personal reasons? Living under an alias? So those 3 years? It wasn't Summershin clinging to him, as he'd believed. The Liu heiress had deliberately approached, incognito. And he had actually humiliated her at their wedding. He'd thrown her out, for a woman like Wendy Sue. A wave of absurdity and sheer, drowning panic seized him. All his previous anger and accusations. Instantly a pathetic, self-inflicted slap. He hadn't offended some helpless orphan. He'd offended the Liu family. They could cripple Fu's empire. Wendy Sue's legs went weak with terror. She only stayed upright by clinging desperately to Jasper's arm. She finally understood. What she'd schemed so hard to steal wasn't a golden ticket. A volcano, poised to reduce her family to ashes. Just then, Uncle Lee, the event's host, approached. His expression was grim. He'd clearly overheard. He looked sternly at Jasper Fu. Vice President Fu. This is a charity gala, not a venue for settling personal scores. If you have any issues with Ms. Liu, handle them privately. Do not disturb the other guests here. His words were polite. The message to leave was clear. Jasper Fu was now persona non grata. Jasper's face flushed red, then paled, then turned ghostly white. It was a spectacle. He opened his mouth to speak, but found his throat so parched he couldn't make a sound. He saw the people around him, now averting their eyes, looking disdainful, or whispering amongst themselves. He knew after tonight, his reputation in this elite circle was finished. Wendy finally couldn't take it anymore. With a choked sob, she whispered, Jasper. Let's just go. She just wanted to flee this place immediately, to escape those humiliating stares. Jasper took one last, deep look at that face. His eyes were filled with shock, regret, bitter resentment, and the bleak gray of utter defeat. He finally understood what he had lost. Nor the courage to ask another question. He whirled around, half dragging, half carrying Wendy, whose legs had turned to jelly, and stumbled, utterly humiliated, towards the ballroom exit. Under the weight of everyone's varied stares. His retreating back held none of its usual arrogant confidence. I didn't watch them leave. I picked up my champagne. A waiter had just brought, perfectly chilled. I raised my glass to Uncle Lee and the concerned elders. A polite, shallow smile returned. A minor interruption. I apologize for disturbing everyone's evening. A toast. That confrontation shattered their social standing. was truly nothing more than an insignificant breeze to me. But everyone present knew that, from this night on, Jasper and his true love would be the biggest joke in the circle. And Ms. Liu, the eldest daughter of the Liu family, she announced her return with crushing force. When a dog bites you, you don't bite it back. What you do is pick up a stick and beat it so thoroughly it can never stand again. How does that stick taste, Jasper Fu? The awkward void left by Jasper and Wendy's humiliating retreat. Music resumed, filling the ballroom with forced chatter. But the air had undeniably changed. There was a new, unspoken tension. A shared digestion of that brief but explosive clash. Countless meaningful gazes refocused on the figure in blue. I remained seated, perfectly composed, taking small, unhurried sips of my champagne, as if I'd merely brushed off a speck of dust. Uncle Lee and the others at my table had regained their composure. Now, their glances held more than just courtesy. There was a new layer of gravity, and a hint of careful reassessment. The Liu family's eldest daughter was not only prestigious. Her methods were swift, ruthless, and left no room for retreat. This added a layer of wariness to their respect. Mr. Song had, at some point, strolled back over. He had swapped his drink for a glass of whiskey, leaning against the decorative pillar by the seating area. Quite the show. After tonight, I reckon Jasper Fu won't be showing his face at these kinds of events for quite a while. I looked up at him. Mr. Song seems rather pleased with the outcome. Song Yen chuckled. He didn't deny it. Watching someone you despise get their comeuppance is always a mood booster. Especially, he lowered his voice. Since that project he won through underhanded tactics, nearly crippled the Song family. I've held that grudge. I gave a slight nod, offering no further comment. An enemy of my enemy could be a temporary object of observation, but there was no need to rush into an alliance. Song Yan's overture had been received. That was enough. Just then, my assistant approached silently. He leaned in and whispered a few words. After listening, cold satisfaction in my eyes, I set down my glass. Excuse me for a moment, Uncle Lee, Uncle Chen, Auntie Wang. My father needs to see me about something. Uncle Lee looked surprised. Old Lou is here too? He's in the penthouse. He heard about the incident and asked me to come up, I explained, my tone calm. The elders immediately expressed their understanding. Uncle Lee even said, of course. Give our regards to your father. I left the hall with my assistant and security. We took the private elevator to the rooftop suite. The moment I left, the gossip about me in that ballroom would only intensify. My father being here too is a depth charge, leaving certain people utterly restless. The elevator ascended smoothly. The door to the penthouse suite is slightly ajar. Pushing it open, it's a suite with an incredible view. Exquisitely decorated and luxurious. Father isn't resting. He's standing before the floor-to-ceiling window, his back to the door, overlooking the city's dazzling nightscape. Hearing the sound, he turns around. Dressed in a comfortable cashmere cardigan, his expression is calm. His sharp eyes hold authority and coldness. Did they give you any trouble? No. I just said what needed to be said. Father turns back to look out the window. That Fu boy and his mother. They've been acting with less and less restraint these past few years, thinking a couple of business deals. And knowing a few people means they've arrived. His voice is low, but carries a dismissive, almost contemptuous tone. Since they're the ones sticking their faces out, not slapping them, would make our Liu family seem like we have no backbone. He pauses. Zhao Mylin, Jasper's mother, pulled strings to get a call through to me. I raise an eyebrow, not surprised. Melanie is a woman obsessed with face and sharp calculation. The bride switch was likely her plan. When word of tonight's events gets back, she'll be the most panicked. What did she say? Father smirks mockingly. What could she say? Sobbing and wailing, saying she failed to raise her son properly, that they were deceived by that woman, Wendy Sue, claiming she always treated Summer like her own daughter. It was all a misunderstanding, begging for a chance to bring Jasper Fu to our door to apologize. I just find it laughable. Treated like her own daughter? For 3 years, Melanie Zhao subtly jabbed at Summer Shen. I remember every single one. How did you reply to her? I said. Father's voice is steady, but each word is like ice. The Liu family's daughter is precious, a treasure. Not just anyone misunderstands her. No apology needed. Our Liu family can't accept it. That slammed the door on Fu family's private reconciliation. Hearing that response, Melanie Zhao must have been scared half to death. And Father sat, gesturing for me to join him. As for the Fu family, we can apply a little more pressure now. Changrong Capital refused the bridge loan. Their stated reason, risk assessment failed. The Liu family is a major backer of Changrong. The rejection was planned. The assistant stepped up. Our contact bumped into a reporter, mentioned issues. Hinted at Fu family liquidity and Blue Bay problems. Expect coverage in tomorrow's financial news. The court of public opinion is about to deliver its first blow. Father asked, how far will you go? I paused. Outside the window, the city glittered with lights. Out there stood the Fu Tower, Jasper Fu's pride and joy. I spoke. I want Jasper Fu to truly understand what he's lost. He, Wendy Su, Melanie Zhao will pay for everything. The Fu family doesn't have to go bankrupt immediately. They must be dragged down completely. As for them personally, ruined reputations, abandoned by everyone. I think that's a fitting outcome. Father didn't respond right away. He slowly picked up the Yixing clay teapot from the table, poured a cup for himself, and poured one for me. It can be done. He took a sip of tea. He said, they trampled on dignity first. So their dignity should be ground to dust. When the Liu family makes a move, we make sure everyone sees the consequences. Proceed as you see fit. Use whatever resources you need. Thank you, Dad. I accepted the teacup. Its warmth seeped through the porcelain. However, Father set his cup down, his gaze piercing. But remember, we're not doing this just for revenge. This is about establishing dominance. Making it clear to everyone that you don't mess with the Liu family. You will take over the family one day. This is a necessary lesson. Mercy has its place. But showing mercy to an enemy is being cruel to yourself. I nodded solemnly. I understand. I stayed in the suite a while longer. Discussed next business steps with Father. Then I got up to leave. When I returned to the banquet hall, the dinner was winding down. Host announced the charity auction's total, eliciting a round of polite applause. My return didn't cause much of a stir, but everyone's gaze towards me had shifted. Even though Father hadn't made a public appearance, but the news that he was upstairs, and the strong stance his daughter just displayed. The Liu family entered the fray. And they're standing firmly behind Liu Ziyi, no holds barred. Song Yan raised his glass again in acknowledgement, his smile now holding a touch of genuine respect. Uncle Li and a few other elders became noticeably warmer. Hinted at future collaboration. That's just how it is. When you show you've got enough power and value, people naturally gravitate towards you. The dinner finally ended in a surface-level harmony, undercurrents of tension swirling beneath. My car sped back to the estate. The night was deep. But for some people, this was destined to be a sleepless night. Sure enough, not long after the car entered the estate grounds, my assistant received a message. Fu Jingyan reached out post-dinner. He's hoping for a private meeting. Sounded pretty desperate. I watched the trees blur past the window, and said flatly, tell him Ms. Liu Ziyi is busy. She has no time for irrelevant people. If it's truly urgent, he can make an appointment with the group president's office. He can apply through the standard business procedures. My assistant's mouth twitched. An appointment. Through procedures. That company head can't even see the director. This was undoubtedly another slap in the face. Also, my assistant continued reporting. Suwon's father's small building materials company just got notified by their long-term main supplier. The supply contract for next quarter won't be renewed. Reason: product standards misaligned. I didn't apply direct pressure. That supplier was already looking for an excuse to drop them. I nudged. When walls crumble, everyone pushes. When the drum is broken, 10,000 people beat it. The Liu family's displeasure is clear. Many will jump in to curry favor. Just the beginning. I leaned back. Is Fu Jingyan feeling the pressure yet? Just Lu Zi's first gentle breeze. The real storm is still brewing. Enjoy your hard-won true love and your crumbling little empire. 3 days after the dinner ended, in the president's office of the Fu Group, Jingyan stared at the headlines. His gaze was terrifyingly sinister. Fu Group's Blue Bay project in crisis, cash flow tight, quality concerns. The article was actually quite restrained in its wording. It didn't draw any definitive conclusions. Cited industry insiders and Fu Group sources. The debt figures and project progress details it subtly listed were like fine needles, piercing precisely the Fu Group's most sensitive nerves. Stock fell steadily since post-banquet market open. Gap down at open, drop temporarily contained. The evaporated market cap is already a painfully large number. What's even more infuriating for him is that several partners who were previously negotiating smoothly, partners evasive, delaying contract signings, or demanding to re-evaluate the terms. Banks press for interest payments more frequently. All of this started with that damned banquet. That wasn't Summer Shin. It was Ms. Lu's icy, contemptuous gaze. Jasper Fu slammed his fist onto the heavy mahogany desk. The pens in the holder jumped from the impact. He couldn't accept that the woman who once spoke to him so gently, who even seemed to admire him, possessed such a terrifying background and power. He couldn't accept being kept in the dark for 3 years. Only to end up handing her the knife to humiliate him with. What was even more unbearable was that he couldn't reach her. It wasn't that he couldn't contact Ms. Liu, but every channel he tried was politely yet firmly blocked. The Liu family was like a sudden, looming iceberg, massive, icy, and immovable. A mere glimpse filled him with bone-chilling despair. A soft knock sounded on the office door. Wendy Sue walked in, carrying a cup of coffee. She was dressed unusually plainly today. Her heavy makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion and anxiety on her face. The humiliation from the banquet. Mocking rumors spread, she snatched a ticking time bomb. She's practically a prisoner in her own home. All those so-called besties who used to kiss up to her won't even take her calls now. Jasper, have some coffee. You haven't slept all night. Wendy places the cup on the desk. Her voice is sickly sweet, dripping with false concern. Jasper doesn't look at the coffee, or at her. He stares, voice hoarse. What are you doing here? His cold tone is a knife to Wendy's heart. But she swallows it, circling around the desk. She reaches to massage his temples. You look exhausted. Let me help you. Don't. Jasper jerks his head away. The movement is pure irritation. Wendy's hand freezes mid-air. Her mask of hurt and a flicker of pure venom almost slips. She pulls her hand back, biting her lip. Jasper? We can't just sit here and take this. The Liu family. Liu, he did this on purpose. He's getting his revenge on us. Revenge? Jasper finally turns to look at her. Eyes bloodshot, chillingly cold. Didn't we give him reason? At the wedding, before everyone, he grits his teeth. He doesn't just hate Z for the deception and the counterattack. He despises his own stupidity that day. He loathes Wendy and Melanie for pushing him into it. The raw fury in his eyes makes Wendy take a half step back. But panic and a desperate, clawing need surge up stronger. She cannot lose Jasper. She cannot lose everything she fought so hard to get. If the Fu family really falls, if Jasper blames her, she doesn't dare think about it. A poisonous idea, nurtured by days of panic and jealousy, takes root. If Zilu wants to ruin her life, then she'll drag him down with her. Jasper? I was wrong, I know. I was just so in love with you. Jealousy made me crazy. Wendy switches tactics, playing the victim. The tears come on cue. But Zi? He lied to you first. He hid who he was to get close. Who knows what his real agenda was? He probably planned to sabotage the Fu family from the start. Now he's won. And he humiliated us in front of everyone. She talks, watching Jasper's face carefully. He's frowning. He's not buying it all. But he's listening. She seizes the moment. Leaning in, her voice drops to a conspiratorial whisper. We can't let him call all the shots. I have a plan. A way to make him taste his own medicine. Jasper's head snaps up. What are you talking about? I'm warning you, don't do anything stupid. She's Lu Jinxiong's daughter. He may be furious, but a sliver of reason tells him he can't take on the Lu family. Wendy Su quickly waves her hands. We can't attack directly, but we can work in the shadows. I know a very capable private investigator. And a few friends who specialize in online public opinion. Lu Zi just came back from abroad, right? She's been away for years. Who can guarantee she's been a saint all that time overseas? If we can dig up just a little dirt, even a tiny bit, or create just a small misunderstanding, it'll muddy the waters, shift focus from us. It might force the Lu family to back off. The more she talks, the more convinced she becomes. A desperate glint in her eyes. We'll make them squirm. Why should we be the only ones suffering? Jasper, we can't just admit defeat. Jasper Fu falls silent. Reason tells him Wendy's plan is incredibly risky. If they trace it back, the consequences are unthinkable. But the rage of being played and crushed in his chest, and the precarious situation the Fu family is in, tear at him like two wild beasts. Maybe Wendy is right. We can't just wait. Even if we can't turn the tables completely, we can at least make Lu Zi's life miserable. He looks at Wendy's face, etched with urgency and calculation. A flicker of unfamiliar disgust passes through him, but anger and despair quickly drown it out. Are you sure? There can't be a single trace leading back to us. Seeing him relent, Wendy is ecstatic. Don't worry, I've thought it through. We'll use anonymous overseas accounts, reliable people. Underground channels. They can't trace it. I've even got the story ready. We'll say she had a wild, promiscuous lifestyle abroad, associated with all the wrong people. We'll provide pictures and text of shady deals. Get influencers to post, bots to spread it. We'll have her scrambling for a good long while. Jasper Fu closes his eyes for a moment. He waves a hand dismissively. Go ahead. Be careful. I'm on it. Wendy feels like she's been handed a royal decree. She strides out, her steps almost light. She can already picture Lu Zi, tangled in scandal. A complete mess. However, what Wendy doesn't know is that since the night of the banquet, the Lu family has been surveilling everyone around her. And she knows even less. The so-called reliable private investigator she contacted was compromised from the start. That night, in the estate study, my assistant gave me a full report and audio files. Wendy Su is making her move. She contacted a troll farm boss and a fraudulent detective via 3 middlemen. They plan to fabricate rumors about my study abroad private life. They'll buy many social media accounts to spread it. The initial deposit came from a secret personal account of Wendy Su's. The money was laundered from the allowance Jasper Fu used to give her. Here are their communication logs and some of the call recordings. I played one of the recordings. That voice, low but dripping with malice, came through. Yes. Exactly that kind of angle that looks like it was secretly filmed. The woman's face absolutely has to be processed to look like her. The captions should push the narrative of spoiled rich girl by day, backdoor dealer by night. The more scandalous, the better. Money is no object. I want to see results within 3 days. I stopped the recording, face blank. Cornered rat's bite. She's really resorting to these low-life tactics. We've already secured the troll boss and the detective. As you instructed, we're playing along. Letting them continue contact with Wendy Sue. To squeeze more funds and instructions out of her. Simultaneously, we've gathered damaging intel on Wendy and her father, Sue Chidwa. Including tax issues, business fraud. And evidence of Wendy sleeping with businessmen for roles early on. One is producer Meng, whom she's been cozying up to lately. Excellent. I leaned back, fingers tapping the armrest. Wendy Sue wants to play the public opinion game? Let her get a taste of the fire she's trying to start. Package her dirty laundry into several batches. Start leaking it tomorrow, bit by bit, through different channels. Begin with the solid proof of her father's company evading taxes, and selling shoddy goods as quality ones. Then follow with her evidence with producer Meng and others. Control the pace. Let it simmer. Let the fire build slowly. Also, compile a clean copy of Wendy's slander plot evidence. The communications, the money trails, the recordings. Once her own scandals have properly fermented, and Jasper has had a good look at the true face of his true love, accidentally leak that copy to Jasper Fu. The assistant nodded. Understood. That will sever the last shred of affection between them. And it will make Jasper Fu fully understand the cost of crossing you. Go. After the assistant left, I walked to the window. The night was deep. Wendy Sue, you think hiding in the shadows and taking potshots can hurt me? You have no idea. The darkness you're standing in already belongs to me. Enjoy the road to ruin you've so carefully paved for yourself. And Jasper Fu? Realizing the true love you cherished so much, the one you've been protecting at all costs, is nothing but a filthy, stupid, and vicious woman. What kind of expression will you have on your face? Jasper woke with a hangover-like headache and fury. His secretary rushed into the office, face pale as a sheet. He didn't even knock. Vice President. It's bad. The secretary's voice was trembling. We just got word. The Blue Bay project site was hit with a surprise joint inspection. Quality, environment, and safety oversight all at once. They said they received multiple signed, real-name tip-offs. They allege we used substandard materials and dumped waste. The inspection team is already on site. But Director Lee, who's leading the team, we used to get along. Jasper shot up from his chair. His vision darkened. Blue Bay was the Fu family's biggest bet. The project with the highest expected return. It was also his key to proving his worth to the board. A single day of shutdown meant astronomical direct losses. The real danger? Delays cause defaults, a chain reaction. Investor confidence collapse. Real name tip-offs? Who did this? He growled, veins bulging on his forehead. I don't know. The whistleblower's info is confidential. But Director Lee, who's leading the team, used to be on good terms with us. This time, he gave zero warning. He's being terrifyingly by the book. Jasper immediately grabbed the phone. He called everyone he knew who might have pull. Either no one answered, or they picked up only to give vague, bureaucratic excuses. They'd politely say they must follow the law and couldn't help. He dropped the phone back into its cradle, defeated. A cold chill shot straight from his feet to the top of his head. This wasn't a coincidence. This precise, swift, utterly ruthless strike, it could only be the work of the Liu family. They didn't even bother to hide it. They were blatantly telling him, we're coming for you. And you can't do a damn thing about it. Before he could even catch his breath from that blow, the investment department manager came scrambling in, panic-stricken. He was clutching a tablet. Vice President. After opening, our stock price dropped another 8% in under half an hour. Massive selling from an unknown source, relentless. It's keeping the price completely suppressed. The market is buzzing with rumors that our capital chain has snapped. That Blue Bay is finished, the banks are calling loans, shut up. Jasper snatched the ashtray off his desk and hurled it to the floor. Glass shards exploded everywhere. His chest heaved, his eyes bloodshot. Capital chain broken. Loans called in. If those rumors are true, the Fu family is truly on the brink of the abyss. He forced himself to calm down. Activate the stabilization fund now. Contact the institutions we have good relations with. Get them to help prop up the stock. And issue a statement. Issue a statement to clarify the rumors. Blue Bay is just under routine inspection, resuming soon. Go. Now. The investment manager scrambled out of the office. Jasper Fu slumped into his chair. He buried his fingers in his hair, pulling at it in desperation. What do I do? What the hell do I do now? Lu Zi, no. The Lu family is trying to bury me alive. As his mind raced furiously, trying to figure out where else he could borrow funds, his private phone rang. Who could he call for help now? It was his mother, Melanie Zhao. The moment he answered, her shrill, panicked voice pierced his ear. Jasper. Have you seen the news? The internet is flooded with Wendy Su's scandals. And your Uncle Su's company got exposed too. Tax evasion. Selling substandard materials. It's over. Our family's reputation is ruined. I always said that Vixen was nothing but trouble. Jasper's mind went blank with a ringing sound. He nearly dropped the phone. He lunged for his computer. His fingers trembled as he opened major social media and gossip forums. Several glaring topics dominated the trending lists. Clear screenshots from hotel corridor footage were there. Faces blurred, but recognizable to those in the know. Chat log screenshots. Internal emails about substituting inferior materials from Su's company. The details were thorough, the evidence chain was clear. The timeline spanned from several years ago right up to the present. Especially the transaction details between Wendy Su and producer Meng. The descriptions were graphic and specific. Included an audio clip, allegedly of a drunk producer Meng bragging. But it was enough to let imaginations run wild. The comment sections were exploding. Oh my god. So this is the true love CEO Fu dumped his wife for? His tastes are unique. No wonder she climbed so high. Her dad's no saint, a crooked businessman. The Fu family really hit the jackpot this time. The prize they fought for at the wedding is a ticking time bomb. I used to feel sorry for the ex-girlfriend he humiliated in public. Turns out she dodged a bullet. Jasper Fu is officially blind. Case closed. He offended the Lu family for this? Ha! Pathetic. Every mocking comment felt like a poison needle, stabbing viciously into Jasper Fu's eyes. He felt a wave of violent nausea, his temples throbbing. Is all of this true, Wendy? That innocent, fragile girl in his mind, the one who only loved him, the one who was different from all those other scheming bitches. Is this what she's really like behind the scenes? Her seemingly honest father was drowning in betrayal. Compared to the commercial setbacks, this personal humiliation was unbearable. He remembered how pitiful Wendy had looked in front of him. She swore they were just work friends. Just yesterday, she plotted to smear Ms. Lu in his office. Jasper let out a low, guttural roar, like a wounded beast. He violently swept the monitor off his desk. Just then, the office door swung open again. Wendy entered, eyes red and hair disheveled. She had clearly already seen the news. She stood on the very edge of a complete mental breakdown. Jasper, you have to believe me. It's all fake. Someone set me up. It was Lu Ziyi. She must have forged everything. Wendy lunged forward, trying to grab Jasper's arm. Her voice was shrill. Jasper violently shook her off. She staggered and fell. He looked down. Not a trace of warmth remained in his eyes. Only disgust. Rage and utter coldness. He saw filthy trash. Fake? His voice was a ragged, grating rasp. The hotel security footage is fake? The chat logs are fake? Those emails from your father's company are fake too, Wendy. Just how many more secrets are you hiding from me? How long have you been playing me for a fool? No, Jasper, please, let me explain. Wendy sat on the floor, tears and snot streaming down her face. Her makeup was a complete, smeared mess. Not a shred of her usual meticulously maintained beauty remained. I was forced. They all forced me. I did it all for my family. To be worthy of you. I love you, Jasper. Everything I did it because I love you. Jasper half laughed, half snarled. Pointing at the shattered screen, he screamed hysterically. You call that love? Sleeping your way to the top? Selling me substandard crap for my projects? You call that love? And now you tried to sink even lower, to destroy Ms. Liu. Only to have the whole thing blow up in your face. Dragging the Fu family and me through the mud for the last time. You call this love, Wendy? Your love makes me sick to my stomach. Wendy was stunned into silence. She had never seen Jasper Fu so utterly, terrifyingly enraged. Blinded by sheer terror, she lashed out. And what about you? Jasper Fu, you think you're so clean? If your mom hadn't chosen Summershin for being controllable, and forced you to choose me, would you have married me? Now you're dumping all the blame on me. If you weren't such a fool, you'd have checked her background. Would we be in this mess today? Her words were like a sharp knife, stabbing right through the last shred of Jasper's self-deception. Yes, he blamed Wendy. He blamed his mother. But in the end, the decision was his. He did it for true love and his mother's approval. Who personally threw the real treasure into the mud. And then stomped on it. Boundless regret and despair instantly swallowed him whole. He almost staggered, barely able to stand. And right then, his phone rang again. This time, it was a file package from an unknown, encrypted number. With a single line, a little gift for you, Vice President Fu. A complete record of your wife's plan to smear Ms. Liu. Enjoy. Jasper's hands trembled as he opened the file. Inside were detailed communication logs, including her calls with the troll and the detective. Transcripts. Screenshots of transfers. All evidence of Wendy's plan. The plan he silently allowed. Sender's note, Ms. Liu is already aware. And reserves all rights to legal recourse. Pfft. Jasper Fu suddenly coughed up a mouthful of blood. It sprayed in specks across the expensive carpet and his shirt. His vision swam, darkening at the edges. His body swayed. He braced himself against the desk to keep from collapsing. It's over. Commercially, targeted and gutted by the Liu family. Reputation-wise, because of Wendy's scandals, he's become a complete laughingstock. And morally? Evidence he condoned the smear is in their grip.